Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka...
This shit's amazing, man. The best part about this house is I got this thing for like $20,000.
Oh, no!
MBT.
Nope.
What?
MBT, and we are back with another thread. Today I want to talk about cards with a shelf life. The cards we're talking about today were playable for like a period of maybe 5 minutes total. They were fill-ins that were part of lists only until we got their obvious replacements. Things that we knew we were not going to spend much time with, but we treasured every second we cast them regardless. And I'm going to begin with one of my favorites, Psi-Beast. You ever see this card? This card was very expensive for a short period of time. When normal summoned, you can banish a psychic monster from your deck, and if you do, this card's level becomes the level of that monster. What you would play this in is First Wave Kashtira. You could use it to banish like a Fenrir that you then get back with a copy of Birth. Doesn't that sound good? It's funny that the second wave completely nullified the need for a card like this, but it's also funny that Riseheart is this card but 10,000 times better. So let's see what you all came up with. This is a perfect answer. There's a few links in this arrow that just existed as downwards arrows at any cost until decks found real options. Lanphorhynchus is one of the funniest cards to ever be playable, but I remember when this card was being released, it was like the most important thing that had ever happened in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like people were like, this card breaks, and then any number of powerful combo strategies. I remember ABC was the one that really wanted it. It's super funny that this was ever anything resembling desired by the player base. RJ's got a good, really old one. By the time Atlanteans were announced, people were waiting for this guy's time to shine. Finally, this was it. He was a disruption. He gave you a body to make 7s and 8s. Squiddy topped with him. Then someone yelled, "You guys know this deck can just OTK, right?" There was a long period of time in which people were trying to find a way to make Dragon Ice playable. When your opponent specials a monster, you can discard one card, special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. That is the activation of a card effect. So if you send a Mermail Lantean monster, it will trigger. So the concept is you can do like turn 0 plays with this guy. You could send, you know, fucking one of the 2-stars and pop a face-up monster. It turns out that Mermail Atlantean just had a trillion cards that did that already, and the utility of being able to pop one card with a 2-card combo was definitely not worth playing a card this bad. Oh, Jesus, yeah. Weren't people playing this in early builds of Sky Striker just to get 3 spells in grave on turn 1? Yeah. Early Sky Striker builds that were built on spec almost all included this card. Toon Table of Contents for Toon Table of Contents for Toon Table of Contents for Toon Cyber Dragon. I don't remember if they stopped because we got some better spells or because they realized that this was bad. It is the latter. This did top for a long period of time, but I think it's just the understanding of the strategy moved in such a way that people were like, yeah, it's definitely not worth playing all of these bad cards to enable a card that already reads win the game. Like, you're not getting anything extra out of that. Juragedo. Juragedo is probably a good answer for this. I usually think of Jeff Jones's deck building when it comes to these things. The one that comes to mind is Juragedo in the weird 2015 Proto Cosmo build. So the first weekend Cosmo had come out, a bunch of pros at an ARG kind of gravitated towards it with the understanding it was better than the fuck off like 1/3 legal Necros lists that were dominant during that format. The problem was the deck didn't have any good cards. It was like Farm Girl, good card, and so in order to make Farm Girl do any amount of reasonable damage, they would get over opponents' monsters using the battle step effect of Juragedo. And like, Juragedo has some utility otherwise. There are other decks that played him because he's like kind of a free 4 and he helps you win combat. But this was a list that was on like Honest and the Sword. Like it just wanted to be able to perform combat. And if it did, it probably would win the game because those cards were very hard to get out. This guy had tops. He was then replaced not by Dippity, but by Fiendsmith Primite, just kind of not being good enough. Okay, first off, yes. Second off, he was replaced by Dippity. In the deck of anyone who aimed to still play this strategy, Dippity superseded him in every way that mattered. But you are also correct that Fiendsmith Primite was just not a particularly strong deck. One of those low ceiling strategies that excels in the hands of a practiced duelist, but no one can seem to replicate its success at the local or regional level. Fuck that deck, man. Once upon a time, people played Cyber Dragon Nova in their decks as an end board piece and not just a climbing frame to get to Cyber Dragon Infinity. Cyber Dragon Nova Target was such a specific series of cards. You're missing the best one, which is Barbaroid. For a very long period of time when extra decks were loose, decks that could make Infinity would play a card in case on the way to Infinity, your opponent popped Cyber Dragon Nova without reading it. And you could get like all manner of towers or removal options or negates. Man, it was a stupid fucking time to be playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh. A lot of decks still played Nova plus Mechaba when people were playing Invoked Shadow decks, because they would go Maximus, send 2 from them, and you'd go, okay, I'll send fucking Nova plus, Entis or something, and then you trigger the Nova and bring out the Mechaba. This is a great one, dude. This one's fantastic. D3S Frog, being a strong include in builds of tier, playing Branded in High Spirits, was very popular and cut almost immediately. Let me pull you up Branded in High Spirits so you see what we're dealing with here. So Branded in High Spirits says, reveal a monster in your hand and a level 8 fusion monster from your extra deck. Send the fusion monster to the graveyard with the same type. It has 2500 attack or defense. Then discard the revealed monster, add a Fallen of Albaz or a monster that mentions it from your deck to your hand. Eventually, there was a better card to reveal for this, which was Rukalos. But before Rukalos came out, you could still play it, virtue of D3S Frog, whose Aqua Water typing and 2500 attack makes it a very valid target. He looks fucking terrible, by the way. He kind of looks like the Gitrog monster, right? It's only a matter of time. Time will tell whether this is correct or not. At present, it is the 1-star you summon off Q in Cool Toon to make a Track Maker, and then it summons Rico from deck. There is a new one that got revealed. I don't know. I mean, this still summons Rico. At present, I still really like this card. I think it's good at 3 in Genesis. Like, sometimes you just get, stopped, and it's like, okay, well, I can still use it. Genesis Answer. Oh, God. In Rose Dragon, this stupid fruit. Why are you making assumptions about Spore the Fairy Seed's sexuality? Is the only good card to send with effects like Rage Rose because it summons and level modulates, but it can't be summoned until you make Perialis. Can't wait to cut it for the Predaplant support in a couple of months. Well, aren't you forgetting someone? OG Spore costs no points. I played some Rose Dragon to Genesis. Listen, I'm a huge Fengli the Soldier Palm, Andy. I love this card. He is my guy. He does not level modulate. You do have to send this dogshit card. I remember hearing this was a very short-lived tech in K9. Disablaster the Negation Fortress it was a short-lived tech in K9. This card has popped up in a number of decks as just a random card that you play. It extends, it occasionally interacts with opponents' setups. It is hard to justify playing cards like this when Noroi exists, I will say. The release of Noroi cut down on a lot of these random 5s that come out, but sometimes because that's a 5 that comes up most of the time. I will say the difference with this one is it is a good enough card that it could still be included in a K9 deck. Obviously, we don't know what K9 decks are going to look like in the wake of the Yokel limit, but I would not be super surprised to see this show up occasionally. Yeah, this is a good one. Ambulowhale was immediately everywhere when Promethean Princess released, but soon enough people replaced it with Pyrophoenix or any other link for it, thanks to Desiree. There were still a couple of decks that were playing Ambulowhale for one reason or another, like they were locked out of it or didn't have the space for Pyrophoenix, but yeah, pretty immediately it was like, you should just be doing the Pyrophoenix OTK. Yes, Ambulowhale can be part of your end board. It's just not a type of interaction that's worth devoting a slot in the extra deck to. It's unfortunate. It's a fun-ass card. It's a really fun card. It can bring back Masquerena. How cool is that? Essential Mathmech combo piece in pre-circular days. It's hard to call Mathmech pre-circular even anything resembling a deck, but so many Cyber strategies were playing Balancer Lord. Once per turn, you can pay 1,000. During your main phase this turn, you can normal summon a Cyber monster in addition to your normal summoner set. It's funny that they made one of the double summon guys who actually does lose to Effect Veiler. We did play him. And when he gets banished, you can special another guy from your hand. See, it's like a combo piece. God, there were so many just dog shit ass Cyberse normal summons people were playing just because they had to. Never noticed this dude is rocking shorts. What? What the fuck? He has normal human shorts on. This is like a being of pure light energy, and he's like, but I want it to be breathable.
Oh, I'm sorry that I'm not wearing pants like a girl would.
Burning Abyss played Crane for all of exactly Duelist Alliance format until a critical mass of names were printed. Hardly any other decks used him until he faded into obscurity. It's so funny to go back to the Duelist Alliance release Burning Abyss decks and see the dog shit ass 3s people were playing. The obvious one that people should have been playing, and were playing, by the way, was Tour Guide. But after that, it was Mathematician, Crane. Duelist Alliance BA decks look really loose, but a lot of that is because people didn't know what a combo deck should look like post Duelist Alliance. These days, we can look at a list that's rocking a whole bunch of conditionally available trap cards, all the BAs and Supply Squad, and say you shouldn't be playing all those cards together. Drawing one card is not worth turning off all your BAs for the entire game. But back then, they were like, you don't understand. We have to out-resource Satellar Knight. Traptrix playing this card until they got Holeutea. Okay, so this is true, but Traptrix had to play this card for a matter of years. It wasn't like Traptrix had to play this for a set while Holeutea came out. Holeutea came out so late into the deck's lifespan that they were playing Shadebrig for like 48 months. The existence of Shadebrig in Traptrix was specifically so that if you opened a two-card combo in quotes here, any Traptrix monster plus Shadebrig, you could trigger Sarah turn 1, which would get you access to a 4, which is good enough. Like, you could make like Sarah plus Redoer and then like set 3, and that's better than most things. Anyway, while we're on the topic, why does Shadebrig have a penis? It's got a cock and balls. Don't show me this guy, man. You know, I saw someone register a copy of this in Genesis. Yeah, so before Vanquish Soul got Xiaolong, the only other fire was Pluton HG. So you would play him because you would want to stake your soul, reveal Raisin to get something on field. And he is a fire, but he does nothing, dude. A lot of Vanquish Soul players topped with Pluton, but I think all of them were super excited to never play this fucking guy again. Another BA answer! Let's go! Back in the day when we only had 4 Burning Abyss cards, we used to throw 1 or 2 of these in so we could turn Dante into a Power Ranger. God, the things people used to be like, what do I do with my spent Dante with? They were like, okay, Downward Magician, that's one thing, but what if I played Rank Up Asshole Force to make him a 5? How crazy would that be? It was a time to be playing. The funny part of this one is that you could mill it off of Dante, then add it for your draw using its graveyard effect. In retro Duelist Alliance formats, this has become popular again at 3. Let's go! Pleiades that good. The original Verte target. There was like 2 weeks right before the release of Goon that people were like, damn, Verte into Neos is a really competent strategy. There were like a couple of duelists that had incredible runs in like online tournaments playing Invoked with Rainbow Neos, and then of course it was totally nullified a week later. Learning about older formats is always funny because what do you mean Fearmonger was in serious contention for hero decks up until around mid 2008? Fuck a hero deck. This guy was in everything. No, if he's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a Destiny hero monster from your graveyard during your next standby phase. Listen, in Teledad format, you had to play some bad names. I don't know. He's a Destiny hero. What do you want? He's a fucking Destiny hero. If your opponent doesn't read, you can summon back Disc Commander, right? I mean, they printed a card that draws you your whole deck. You just have to be playing Destiny heroes. There were so many fucking Madolche cards that were just in early builds of the deck because, I mean, you have to be able to make that dog shit ass Xyz monster somehow. Chouxvalier, it was a 4-star monster, you know? What does it do? Fuck all. But it was a 4-star monster, baby. It's shocking what we put up with in Madolche. Madolche could be this whole thread. It could be like Mewfiel, I mean, you could literally post every single Madolche card in sequence. Remember when Simo made Twitter mad by joking about how seeing Onomat was good in Duel Links and it was making Rhinosebus? The nose bussy, dude. This was my guy. Every time Insect gets support, I always wonder if we'll see this card become sensible for them to make because it's not even that bad of a card, really. God, I played so much of this deck. I played a ton of Onomat before it was good in Duel Links just because I wanted to play like an Xyz deck. And if I recall correctly, it was doing like Gaga Sister plus a 4 for the Insector rank 6 to lay the Rhinosebus on top. Fuck, that card was so fucking fun to play. It's just Trident at home. This thing was the only rank 6 that you could make under the weird Dino lock in Wild Survivors Dino, right? And then a week later, they revealed Law. I'm so sorry, dude. I'm so sorry. Transcendosaurus, Drillignatheus. You were in one beautiful 10-minute testing, and then they said, okay, don't worry. You don't have to play that dog shit anymore. Correct me if I'm missing something, but I don't think you can make a Dragon Xyz while Dino locked. You're gonna love this. Oh, they literally describe it. You can't special summon monsters from the extra deck except Dragon, Dinosaur, Sea Serpent, or Worms. Oh, my mistake. The quad type. This is kind of a different answer, and maybe someday we'll do a thread about this, but this was a series of like 14 billion dog shit cards people played to summon out and make Isold. Maybe that is a fun other thread. Like, what did people play in order to facilitate like a fucking broken Link 2? I appreciate that we can take a look back at cards like these. Options that were not good in any sense of the word, but nevertheless had a short stint of playability in decks, archetypes, and metagames that they obviously didn't belong. It is better to burn out than fade away, even if you burn out in about 5 minutes. Also, wait, before we move on, look how fucking vascular this guy is. Why does he have dick veins all over his legs? That's disgusting, dude.